Hi, I'm Sonya White Jaguar. Welcome to White Jaguar Weekend Read, my weekly audiobook series. Let's continue with my free book, Writing Alan Rickman's Autobiography, a fan fiction romance. Chapter 8, Naked Dreams. That night I dreamed I was flying. I soared with my arms outstretched, swooping above and below rolling cumulus clouds, enjoying the feeling of weightlessness as the wind carried me forward. I had no sense of where I was headed. I was totally in the moment, taking in the panoramic views all around me of green hills, valleys, and the infinite sky. When I awoke, I was lying on top of Alan. His naked arms and legs were wrapped around me in a bear hug. I couldn't see the clock on the dresser from my position, but I guessed it was early morning because the room was lightening. When I raised my head to see if Alan was asleep, his closed eyes gradually opened. Then he smiled and squeezed me tighter. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "Did I wake you?" "No." The words, spoken in that distinctive baritone voice, ricocheted off the walls of the small room. After a moment, Alan carefully turned to slide me off him onto the bed so that he could reach over to the dresser. After opening the drawer at eye level, he pulled out a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, and a small ashtray. He asked if I wanted a cigarette, and I said, "No, I don't smoke." As he put one in his mouth and prepared to light it, he said, "You don't mind, do you?" I shook my head. After taking his first drag, he exhaled slowly, leaned back into the pillows, and closed his eyes. Resting on an elbow, I positioned myself so I could observe him. Watching the rhythm of his lips, repeatedly curling around the cigarette and releasing it, fascinated me. The smaller the cigarette got, the deeper Alan sank into the pillows. I'd never seen him so relaxed. After a while, I broke the silence and said, "I didn't know you smoked." "I used to," Alan admitted, "when I was young. I don't anymore. Well, except once in a great while when I want a taste. Nobody knows I do this, except for you now." He smiled wistfully and paused before continuing. "It calms me down and reminds me of what it used to be like, how I used to feel a long time ago. Satisfied, like I do right now. I suppose you think it's a bit indulgent. I like the way it feels after." He winked at me as he took a few more puffs. "I feel satisfied too," I said. He continued, "I know this is terribly cliché, but you make me feel young again. There's no reason not to admit it. But believe me when I say I didn't invite you here just to try to recapture my youth." "No," I acknowledged, "I know you're not like that. It's just that it's been a long time since I've been with someone I consider to be a true artist." "Wow, that's quite a compliment. I'm not sure I see myself that way," I said. "I'm not wrong about that. I can recognize an artist anywhere. They smell different." Then he buried his face in my hair and made exaggerated sniffing noises. I burst out laughing. "I've never met anyone like you, Alan. You make me feel so at ease, so free to be myself." "That's my goal," he said. "I want you to be yourself and express yourself openly to me. If we're not doing that, well, we're not really communicating, are we? And if we're not communicating, then what's the point?" I nodded. Alan continued, "I want to connect with you artist to artist. I know you're concerned about how to write my book. What you've written in the past is different from what I'm asking you to do for me now. Trust that it will come together in the right way at the right time. I know it will because I know the kind of writer you are. I just want to be understood as an artist and as a man." I was doing my best to understand Alan, but I didn't want to push him to share anything he wasn't ready to reveal. So I asked him something I figured he'd be willing to answer. "What are your dreams? What makes you you as an artist and as a man?" He sighed before responding. "There's something about an artist's sensibility. I'm obsessed with perfection. I know that about myself, and I'm working on that. I'm trying not to let old disappointments color my reactions to new experiences. To see the world anew every day with an open mind and clear intentions, free of guilt and old programs running over and over in the head. That's a dream I have. And I want to believe that the world can change for the better." He chuckled. "I know that's a silly dream." I chuckled too and said, "No, that's not a silly dream." At this point, he said, "I just want to surround myself with beauty." He tucked a stray lock of hair behind my ear and continued, "Thank you for dressing up for me last night. I was dreaming about you wearing my scarf before I woke up." "Oh," I said, "I had a dream too. I was flying across the sky like a bird. I guess that's saying something about the effect you had on me after." We both giggled. "Being your model wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be," I admitted. "You look good in red," Alan said. "You should wear that color more often." He snuffed out his cigarette in the ashtray and then stood to place all the items on top of the dresser. Afterward, he turned back toward me with a mischievous grin and exclaimed, "Hey, I just got an idea." I cringed. "You're not going to ask me to model a long red necktie now, are you?" He shook his head. "Sorry, I don't have a red necktie." I snapped my fingers and said sarcastically, "Oh darn, I'm so disappointed." "But," he added, "I would love to see you in a long sweater." "That's a switch," I said. "Well, winter is coming. I wouldn't want you to catch a cold." "That's thoughtful of you. I'll be sure to get a red one." Alan nodded. "And wear nothing underneath it." We both laughed as I picked up the nearest pillow and threw it at him. He caught the pillow and tossed it back onto the bed. Then he climbed in under the sheet with me and embraced me, pressing me gently against his naked skin. His lips brushed my ear as he whispered, "You satisfy me like no one else ever has. If I could, I would carry you in my arms away from here. I dream of flying with you to the Caribbean, and then I'd make love to you on the beach." "That sounds wonderful," I said with a sigh. "I'd give you a massage and help you release the tension from every muscle in your body." He said. "Will you let me massage your feet?" "On the beach? Or right now?" He chuckled. "Both. But right now would be ideal." Smiling, I said, "I would like that." After I sat up, Alan positioned himself at my feet without another word. He looked like a supplicant as he gently worked his fingers into the soles of my feet. The gentle pressure of his warm, soft hands was so relaxing that I closed my eyes and nearly nodded off to sleep. At one point, he interrupted the silence by saying, "I told you earlier that I had an idea." His deep voice jolted me awake. "Oh, yes," I said, my eyes now open and fixed on him. "What is it?" "Let me paint your toenails red." For a moment, I thought my heart had stopped. "I'd have to buy some nail polish first," he quickly added, "but that's something I'd love to do." Alan's creative ideas never ceased. I sometimes carried nail polish in my purse, so I asked him to let me check. His hands released me as I turned to climb out of bed to retrieve my bag from the kitchen counter. Join me next week for Chapter 9, The Heart Space. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you'll be notified when the next video is posted. You can also sign up for my newsletter on my website, sonyawhitejaguar.com, and get notified that way. I send out newsletters twice a month. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week.